So the Reclaimer in Star Citizen is obviously based on the Nostromo, right? The Aurora Mk II looks like the Dune Ornithopter, and the Reliant is very reminiscent of the B-Wing. Star Citizen has over 150 unique spaceships, and more than 20 of them have a pretty convincing real-life or sci-fi counterpart. And you know, Star Citizen, these ships are going to range anywhere from $45,000 to $5,000. With ships ranging from other IPs from Star Wars to EVE Online, Elite Dangerous, and Final Fantasy to the Air Force. I'm going to show you them all here. Thank you for coming to my Tomato Talk. I'm not going in any particular order today, so I'm going to start with my favorite. Partially because I absolutely adore the Prometheus from the movie Prometheus, but also because I love the MISC Odyssey, both in its design, which reminds me a lot of that Aliens universe ship, and its use. Prometheus is a long-distance, self-sustaining science and exploration vessel. You can see this through its facilities, and kind of like what they sent it there to do. And there's no better match coming to Star Citizen than the MISC Odyssey concept, allowing you to mine and replenish your fuel while out on the job in search of deep space discoveries. Now let's stick with the same universe for now. It's hard to look at this cafeteria table and not wince. If you've seen Alien, you know. And the rest of the Reclaimer does also carry that same gritty feel that the Nostromo did.
The original inspirations were themed around the Nostromo from Alien.
In an early promotional video for the game, it even uses a shot that's extremely similar to the Nostromo when it's touching down on LV-426. Alright, jumping IPs, this one's a little more ambiguous, but I know my EVE viewers would have a fit if we didn't include the EVE Online Venture mining ship, which is generally the same kind of shape and color scheme as the Drake Vulture in Star Citizen, a salvaging ship. That two-pronged design is really good for industrial work, it seems. Who would have thought? And while we're at it, let's talk about Elite Dangerous. The ASP Explorer has a bit in common with the CNOU Nomad in its general shape, but that is about where it ends. You can look at these ships all day and see similarities with what they look like from the outside, but the size difference between these ships is pretty big, with the ASP being 56 by 51 by 20 meters and the Nomad only being 26 by 18 by 9 meters. Regardless, the slight similarity does win it a spot on the list. As for the Scorpius, I feel like I don't really need to call this one out. I think CIG has made it pretty clear with each of these videos they release. This ship always seems to fit into a certain callback. While the wings are quite a bit more swept back, and the transformed shape is more of a battle salmon, this ship is a pretty obvious X-Wing callback. Luckily, it's also pretty fun to use, and it looks really good. The little brother to the Scorpius is known as the Aurora Mk II, and while it's not necessarily a Star Wars reference, the Dune Ornithopter similarity is uncanny, especially in this shot. I kind of expect the wings to start flapping here. Interestingly, the designer of the Dune Ornithopter, George Hull, has actually worked on several ships for Star Citizen, just not this one, reportedly. Now, as a starter ship and the main way to enter the game at $45, I do think this is a pretty good looking ship, and it has a nice interior to boot. On that note, if you do want to get into Star Citizen, you can use the Join Tomato link down below to get 50,000 extra starting credits for you and one of our Patreon supporters in our referral randomizer. Now, let's stick with Star Wars for a bit, because CIG loves their Star Wars references. The Fury was obviously meant to represent the TIE archetype when it first released, but the Guardian MX is the real TIE interceptor of the bunch. 4 guns on each pylon, the perfectly pointed wings, the hulking shape when it's landed. This is one of my favorite ship designs in the whole game, but they do really need to hide the weapons better. I'm also going to need a political espionage storyline a la Andor now, because this reference is far too on the nose for you to not give that to us. Please and thank you. believe it or not, I'm sure you will, there are more Star Wars references, this time the Wolf, giving that strong Naboo starfighter vibe. Specifically, I think the N1 starfighter from The Mandalorian is a clear parallel. Why do I think that? Well, if you look at the video that they showed in this ship coming out, and then you look at the video from The Mandalorian where he escapes with this N1 starfighter, they're exactly the same. A small, no-frills, light fighter with a sleek exterior has clearly been a staple for this ship all the way back to the concept images we were first shown at the beginning of last year. And the sound of the bespoke laser repeaters just kinda seals the deal. The Mando's other ship is also pretty achievable in everything but the Grogu, through the Cutlass Black. Even the silhouette of this ship gets pretty close to the old Razor Crest with the thrusters sticking out on pylons from the side. They are also both fairly small ships used as 1 to 2 person freighters, with space for some boxes but also some defenses for yourself. I think if they did get any closer in design, they'd probably have some trouble, but the Cutlass Black did come first, so... Alright, that's enough Star Wars for now, let's talk about real-world craft. Starting with one of the most obvious, the Aegis Eclipse. This is a 30th century B-2 bomber, meant to do exactly the same thing, strike without being seen. And now with the missile pods able to be attached to the bottom, it's even more similar. But the ability is yet to be seen at scale in Star Citizen. Stealth gameplay is only just becoming more prominent, and we really don't have enough bombing missions yet. So we'll see if this ship can live up to the B-2 legend, but with size 9 torpedoes, a low signature, a pretty nice look, and one of the coolest cockpits in the whole game, I would say it's got a bright future. No pun intended. The F7A SuperHornet kinda feels like it fits with the F-18 SuperHornet, doesn't it? The carrier-launched mainline superiority fighter with the Hornet in its name, but we do have one thruster on the Anvil Hornet versus the 2 on the real-life counterpart. Well, wouldn't you know? There's a 2-thruster Anvil F7X Hornet that shows up in Squadron 42, also carrier-based. Wow. The Hercules is actually a cargo ship first. The fact that it looks like the C-17 military transport and, oh, well, I guess it opens the same way too. Those are tanks coming out. Okay, even though this company was founded under religious pretenses meant to just transport things, the C2 Hercules is definitely a clear call-out to the C-17 Globemaster US Air Force transport. And I actually grew up with these things flying overhead, and funny enough, the Globemaster still feels quite a bit bigger. With the Hercules measuring 94 meters long, 70 meters wide, and 23 meters tall, compared to the C-17's 53 meters long, 51 meters wide, and 16 meters tall. It's a bit of a size difference there. Luckily, in-game, this thing is still a fantastic transport if you're mixing cargo and vehicles with a small crew. The F-15 was one of the coolest jets to me as a kid. While not as cool as the F-22, it still had a pretty iconic shape. The American fighter is, according to the Air Force aficionados that I know, represented by 2 ships in Star Citizen. But the Aegis Gladius is the most obvious one. The overall sleek fighter-like design, the vertical dual stabilizers and dual thrusters, they draw comparisons, but you won't find a distinct visual similarity like, say, the M80 and the Tomcat. The similarity is more in the use case, as a multi-role, multi-purpose craft that looks freaking cool. And don't worry, Vanguard, you're also quite similar too. Next up is another Crusader model, the Ares Inferno, also meant to transport things but mainly just bullets. This is a ship built around a weapon, similar to another craft with a gun that every plane nerd wets themselves over when they hear. While the Ares in-game has been a wild ride with a steel grip over the hearts of many a space pilot, there's no denying it's meant to strafe targets with a really big gun and not stick around for too long. Your mileage may vary though. Arguably the ugliest ship in the game, argued by myself, the Aegis Retaliator is a large target bomber. It carries size 9 torpedoes geared towards taking out capital ships, similar to the Eclipse. But it focuses on a multi-crew format that actually finds it less useful in the current game. Nonetheless, it carries a strong functional similarity to the B-17 Flying Fortress, a multi-crew bomber with unguided bombs meant to hit strategic targets from large distances. You'll find turrets all across the tally meant to defend it from fighters in a similar fashion, but the B-17 definitely wins in the looks category, in my own opinion. The last of our real-world lookalikes is the Origin M80. While it doesn't have translating wings like the F-14 Tomcat, just look at this thing. Man, it's like a deadly sleek pizza slice. I personally don't like the functionality of this ship, it's not really for me, but the wheeled landing gear, the hidden armaments, the focus on long-range intercepting, extreme focus on straight-line speed, and obviously the shape of this ship win it a regular comparison to the F-14. Just don't forget the M80 is 32 meters long, compared to the F-14's 19 meters long. Alright, now back to the Alien universe. There was one more I wanted to look at. The Valkyrie was pretty close in appearance and use case for the iconic UD-4 Cheyenne dropship, piloted by Corporal Colette Farrow in the Aliens movie. A vehicle and personnel capable dropship fit the bill, and the ship's trailers gave the vibe. But the new Asgard hoists the thrusters up top and pretty significantly bridges that visual gap with the dropship as well. As one of the best 1 to 3 person transports in the game, you'll have no problem carrying your ground vehicle, platoon of Marines, and a scary alien back to your mothership in this one. Alright, this one will throw you. I was about 12 years old when Final Fantasy The Spirits Within came out, and I was convinced it was the coolest thing that I would ever see. Flash forward 23 years and the Esperia Prowler is a little cooler, and at least letting me relive part of that movie. It actually kinda hurts how similar these look, and they are both dropships. The wings are a pretty obvious callback, and even the way they rotate when they're flying makes them look the same. Now maybe we could get some grapple lines and gigantic, cushiony, soft blubber cloud things to land in when we fall out of our ships. Man, this movie was so much fun. Ha! You thought we were done with Star Wars. Nope, the Millennium Falcon of course has to get a spiritual successor as well. And this one comes with it all. 2 to 3 person crew, asymmetric design, smuggling equipped, even if the Falcon wasn't originally. The MSR comes with secret-ish tunnels, a scan-resistant holding cell, and a complete short movie released as an advertisement for the ship when it came out. It featured a duo crew with one standing in for the currently incapacitated alien co-pilot. There's even a scene in the video where they're making a dramatic escape across the planet's surface as they fly away that looks eerily similar to the Millennium Falcon escaping the First Order in The Force Awakens from the desert planet of Jakku. It's not subtle. But time will tell what actually happens to this ship. The MSR is in huge need of an update, even before they figure out what data running gameplay is going to look like. We'll see how much the interior of this thing eventually changes and what variants get made out of it, because we know it's going to happen eventually. The Reliant is a vertical ship with the ability to swivel the majority of its body horizontally. It's a pretty unique and extremely old design as far as Star Citizen is concerned. It was one of the original ships released back in the 2013-2014 era and finds itself in need of an update. But I'm sure it's easy enough to see the similarities with the B-Wings from Star Wars. While the B-Wing is meant for heavy attacks and bombing, compared to the Reliant's light attacks along with science, journalism, and hauling-focused variants, they both feature that stable cockpit attached to a rotating body, and they both look really good doing it. This one is a bit weird. The RSI Polaris is a relatively flat ship at 166 meters long and only 35 meters tall. But the ship I find it most closely resembles, the Garancieres, is 112 meters long and 146 meters tall, because it lands on its butt. But once you ignore that and only look at it from the top, you see that wedge shape, the bridge out front, and even the ship hangar up top that makes this feel like a clear inspiration for the Polaris. In Gundam, the ship is used as a disguised transport belonging to the Neo-Zeon faction. They don't carry the same function, as this fatty is a freighter, and the Polaris is a warship. And despite that, the Polaris still does come in 30 meters wider. They certainly are an interesting pairing on this list. There is something about a ship that feels alive. The squishy nature of the Zerg, the overwhelming dread of the Reapers, and the staggering intellect of the AI ships in the culture. The Vanduul have mastered this themselves and fly ships that literally feed on organic material. But aside from that, they are pretty creepy to look at, reminiscent of the Cylon Raiders of Battlestar Galactica. They are somewhat sentient alien crafts and essentially space raiders. It doesn't take a lot of imagination to see the similarities. While it resembles the space battleship Yamato, the Anvil Odin is visually a bit more in line with the Andromeda-class battleship from the same series. Regardless, it's fairly obvious the inspirations, especially from the concept art featuring the massive forward-facing main weapon, the array of weaponry across the hull, a conning tower for command, and the ability to house their own fleets wins the battleship Yamato and the $5,000 Anvil Odin concept image as the final spot on the list. Star Citizen is like a love letter to all the great sci-fi IPs. You'll see Blade Runner, Star Wars, Star Trek, Final Fantasy, Dune, Stargate, and on and on. All kinds of callbacks and influences because it's being made by a bunch of space nerds from that time. It's also heavily servicing the more affluent and slightly older crowd that tends to be drawn to the game, focusing on IPs that are common with what I'll call the Wing Commander crowd. I personally don't have a problem with it. The designs of these ships go so far past any 3 or 4 design elements that I can call out in a video like this. They are made to suit their own necessities and accommodate a specific game. Now, should they keep getting their designs from other IPs, even as far as an inspiration? I think occasionally it's really nice fan service, and obviously it's an easy sales boost, but designs like the Hull B do keep me wanting more original designs that live on their own and really build an expectation for what a Star Citizen ship should be. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this recap of the 20+ ships I could find with counterparts elsewhere. Let me know in the comments down below which ships you think I missed, and check out what others have said as time goes on. Thank you for watching this video all the way through. I hope you learned something new in it, and I'll catch you in the next.